Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever you may be listening. Welcome to Latitude, the 43 North podcast. I'm your host, digital media manager here at 43 North, Nate Benson, and we've got a great show for you today. We introduce Alex Gress, the incoming 43 North executive director. As you may have heard in the news in the last couple days, we've announced Alex is coming on board in mid-March full-time. So who is he? What is he like? What's his thoughts on the startup scene in Buffalo? All these burning questions and more coming up right now on the Latitude podcast. Alex, good morning. How are you?
Nate, I'm doing well.
As you know, from what I found out, an astute listener of the podcast, give us the quick pitch of who you are and what you do now.
Hello to everybody. So Alex Gress, I'm the incoming director for 43 North and proud to be a part of this organization.
So we're going to have a quick, nice little chat kind of to get to know you because I met you a few days ago.
But I've known you. I've heard your podcast before.
What as an outsider now coming in, what's your feedback for the podcast? Are we doing an okay job? Can we do better? What's the feedback?
You know, look, Nate, like anything else, we're a strong foundation, and we're going to continue to build on it.
Nailing those talking points. All right, Alex. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a Western New York native, correct?
I am.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in East Amherst, and my parents actually still live in the same house. They've had for about 40 years out there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
My parents, similar situation. They've had houses. They moved in the day after I was born, actually, in Auburn, New York. So similar situation. They're never going to leave that house, and I'll be stuck repairing it in 20 or 30 years.
Very similar. I think we're hearing the same themes.
Your father's also been a accounting professor at Canisius College, correct?
Exactly. I think he's, in fairness, he's taught probably half the business community of Buffalo, and so his strong reputation precedes him.
So that might either be a blessing or a curse for you coming into this role, right? Because a lot of those people he taught have powerful positions now in Western New York.
Exactly.
But then, like so many people, you left the area, I assume after high school or early rounds of college, right? Tell us that journey, away from Buffalo and coming back.
Yeah, no, like a lot of people. First, I was fortunate to grow up here. Graduated Canisius High School, had an excellent experience there. Went to school in New York at Fordham University, and obviously with my dad's perspective and background, followed his footsteps into the accounting profession. But like anything, that only lasted for a few years.
You didn't want to be a rock star or a fighter pilot. You right to the accounting, huh?
Just right into the sexy stuff, accounting.
Like Dad's got the best job ever. Accounting.
And it was true. It built a good foundation. Good to interact with top tier clients. And so your first couple of years in your early 20s, it's a really good building block. I left that after a couple of years at Pricewaterhouse, went into investment banking, capital markets in New York, and worked for a Canadian bank, CIBC World Markets. Met my wife, Jennifer, during that process. We were able to move to London in 2001.
We both married a Jennifer, so I knew there was something about you I liked.
Yeah, that's how we can't forget each other's spouses'
exactly.
names, so that's good. So we've got that going for us. And, ended up living there for a better part of 8 years. Wow. And in the process, both my girls were born there. We had a chance to move back to North America in about 2009, around that time frame, and went to Toronto. And that was a shift away. That was a shift away from larger tier, capital markets, larger tier, investment banks.
And that's when you got your first taste of kind of the startup life, as we like to say, right?
Absolutely. I set up my own, holding company effectively, and we were investing in startup companies to controlling board seats. And it was just such a formative experience for me. It was just the mesh of bringing together kind of a larger tier, background that I had in terms of more complicated institutions, but then bringing that to a level where you are absolutely in the shoes of a startup. You are drafting your business plan. You are raising capital. There is nobody large behind you. There's no large balance sheet behind you to support you. You're completely on your own. And so you go through the ups and you go through the downs. And, obviously you learn a lot in that process. And, we were able to run that out for to 2013. And really, what ended up happening was I really just felt that pull. It was really a pull to come back to Western New York. One of our companies was operating here, and I had a chance to really spend a lot of time, obviously, back in the region, let alone my family was still here. My parents were still here. And I had a chance to really see the early stage resurgence of the area, the growth of Canal Side, what was happening there. As one example, the real estate development that was coming in. And, my wife and I got really excited about that. And so there was a pull back. And so we were fortunate to come back here. And now at this point, our third child was born, a son was born up in Toronto. And we relocated back here.
Fantastic. You spent some time at First Niagara and then KeyBank, where you're now leaving KeyBank to come here to 43 North. You're and forgive me if I butcher your title, you're the Chief Risk Officer at KeyBank?
No, Chief Market Risk Officer.
Chief Market Risk. Is there a difference between risk and market risk?
Well, there is. And the Chief Risk Officer oversees the entire organization. Okay. So let's, keep that in perspective.
Yeah. So what is I'm just a blue collar guy. My dad's a steelworker, so I don't know much. What is a Chief Market Risk Officer?
Primarily what we're doing is we look at anything that impacts kind of any price risk that could hit Key's balance sheet or impact their net income effectively. So we have a broker-dealer operation where we do some customer trading. We also have an investment portfolio. So anything from the equity markets, interest rate market, derivatives, foreign exchange, anything that creates some volatility, something that we pay very close attention to.
Is there any correlation to, you announcing you're coming on board here at 40 North and the market tanking last week?
Absolutely not.
So they're not correlated.
Totally unrelated.
Getting out while the getting's good right now. So, you're incoming executive director of 43 North. Why did you, kind of throw your name in the hat for the job?
Yeah, no, I was really drawn to the opportunity, and I don't look at it as a job. It really is an opportunity. I'm excited about the work that's been done here to date, the strength of the platform, the foundation. We're coming into our 5th year of a competition. Every year it's been getting stronger and stronger in terms of the crop of finalists and their ability to really positively, impact Buffalo and Western New York kind of going forward. So for me, I was really drawn to kind of building on that foundation and really helping to make something that had a long-term and sustainable success to it. And look, I've been fortunate to have an eclectic background, big company, small company type experience. And I thought, what's a great way to kind of give back to the community, give back to the area, but to take on this opportunity. And that's really, I'm honored to be a part of it.
What's your, and you and I have been, going over media training and talking points for the last 5 days. So
clearly none of that's been helping me.
None
right
of that's
now.
been helping. I needed, my commitment to you is to do a better job. But no, you and I have talked a little bit about vision and stuff, but kind of spitballing here. And I'm giving you permission to put your talking points aside.
Yeah.
What do you see? What do you really want to do in the next few years here at 43 North? And obviously, you and I have talked about kind of building upon the foundation. But what do you kind of see that coming? How do you see that coming to fruition?
Yeah. When I grew up here, it was almost a foregone conclusion that if you really wanted to have a strong career and to do something that meaningful, unfortunately, a lot of that meant that you had to leave the region. Mm-hmm. So when I look forward, first of all, you've got young kids.
Yeah.
I have young kids. As I've gotten to know the team here, there are lots of us with young kids. And look, going forward, I want the next generation to have choices. I want them to have opportunities to stay and build their life and their careers here in a real positive and meaningful way if they choose to do that, or if they choose to go away. It's because then there's a great opportunity abroad. But we want to create more opportunities here in this area, something that's sustainable going forward. So a lot of it is for my kids, and really how I think about, what's your legacy going to be, years down the road? What is it? How do you put your stamp on something kind of going forward? And this was what, as I look forward, what I was drawn to.
What are you most excited about? When you're not coming on board till about mid-March, you're still wrapping things up at KeyBank. What are you looking forward to when you kind of get the boots on the ground here?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm really excited to work with the team. I know it's a strong team, highly accountable. As you know, the team is very much in the throes of planning for the upcoming finals. So I'm looking forward to getting a part of that. Really looking forward to also taking a step back, taking a fresh perspective on the operations that we have here, and really thinking strategically about what new perspectives, what new opportunities, what new strategies we can kind of bring to the table here. And more importantly, I think it's a couple of things as well. I'm excited to really get to know the crop of existing portfolio companies that we have, where they are in their stages of commercialization, how we can continue to assist that and build that out. I think that's very important because we've got, as you know, just a great group of companies that are there today. And what can we learn from them that we can apply going forward? So we're going to very much continue focusing on high quality companies going forward. Companies that continue to play very well and mesh really, really well with our employer base here. We've got an area of leadership here in the area that it can be really strong mentors to the next generation of companies. I think people are chomping at the bit to get involved, and that's what I love about our area. People really want to make a difference. People really want to take it to the next level. It's just, if you have an opportunity to help bring that together, it's so powerful, man. It's so meaningful.
That seems to be one of the biggest changes I've noticed in the community in the year I've been directly involved with 43 North is the companies that are coming in here, they want to be able to do business immediately. And I think, in those first few years, there was kind of like a little bit back and forth. We're not sure. But last year, there was a huge buy-in, I thought, from the community. And they started doing business with, not just 43 North companies, but really all startup companies in the area.
Yeah, and I think what's happening, all of our stakeholders, the community, our sponsors, obviously, Empire State Development Corp., all of these are strong. And they increasingly understand the timeline that's involved in really developing these companies. And I think you're starting to see that really come to bear. You're starting to see real pockets of success. Clearly, we know ACV has been a great example in terms of its ability to go out, raise third-party capital. It's direct contribution to our employer base kind of going forward. So I think examples like that are important, and more important, and equally identifying, more of those, going forward.
So you attended finals last year. It hadn't been announced yet. In fact, we didn't really know John was leaving until after finals. That was, the big spoiler alert when we were kind of decompressing from finals week. So you're sitting in finals, not 6 months later you're going to be taken in the exec director chair. But when you're in the audience at 43 North, do you have any thoughts of like, oh, this would be fun to be a part of somehow, or it wasn't even on your radar at that point?
Well, first of all, I was sitting there like everybody else, just blown away by, what this represented for our area. Let alone the quality of the production.
Yeah, those videos were just top notch.
And this guy Nate Benson,
he really just brought the show home.
I don't know where this guy came from, but him cutting in, I thought was a really great touch. No, look, the quality of the production was amazing, but it wasn't just the production. I was just enamored by all the work and what it takes leading up to it, and just the commitment of the board, the commitment of all of our sponsors, the commitment of Empire State Development Corp. To making this successful, the commitment of Governor Andrew Cuomo and his contribution to this through the Buffalo Billion, and just thinking of how, man, just all these things have kind of come together, to contribute to create something here. How awesome would it be? How awesome would it be just to have a little part of that, to be able to carry that torch just one step further in its life cycle and its development. And so I didn't know when I sat there that I would have the opportunity to help carry the torch, to its next generation. And I give just so much credit and kudos to John Gavigan and respect so much what he's built here. And I'm really honored to follow in his footsteps, and very respectful and humbled by the support of the board and the search committee, to help to put that responsibility, that help me carry the torch next here. So when I sat there, I certainly didn't know where this would lead to, but in my mind, I was clearly thinking through what it represented for our area, and where it had come from, and how exciting any opportunity would be to be a part of it. I just didn't know at that point how much a part of it I could be.
I haven't met your wife yet, but her being a Jennifer, she's probably similar to my Jennifer, the focus group of one, as I like to call her. Where you kind of have to run everything by her to, is this a good idea? So, what was your family's feedback when you said, hey, I've got this great gig at KeyBank? To a lot of professionals, that's a dream gig. I want to go hang out with the startup kids. What's going through her mind at that point?
Probably really similar to your wife. Jennifer is just amazingly supportive, amazingly grounded, and she has a shared vision for this area. Now, she's from Pittsburgh. We let her into Buffalo a few years ago, but she's been just a phenomenal contributor in her own right to the area. She teaches at Power Yoga Buffalo. She's helped develop a lot of the free yoga sessions. She's brought yoga to the Buffalo public school system.
Not an easy task.
Not an easy task years ago, and helped launch a program. And that was her first year coming back into this area. So I'm actually completely humbled every day by what she can do going forward. And so when this opportunity came about, I think she's beyond being, a strong advocate and a personal cheerleader, just intensely supportive. And I think we just feed off of each other's, vision and passion for trying to do something great for our kids, for our families, for the community that we're proud to be a part of.
There's a lot of players in town. We're not doing this on our own. You've got Launch New York, UB, WNY Incubator Labs, Z80 Labs, and several other organizations, Bright Buffalo. I'm certainly forgetting some, and I apologize. But collaboration, I think, is such a key component if we're going to see success in 5, 10, 15 years. How do you see collaboration with the community moving forward, especially in the role you'll have?
Yeah, well, that's something that I'm obviously pretty excited about. I think continuing to get, strong support, strong buy-in, to everything that we're doing is going to be a continued element here. We've got, as you know, strong sponsorship base, and I think there's also an opportunity to really think through, other versions of strategic sponsors kind of going forward as well. And so I'm really not concerned about how we're going to collaborate, because I think the mission, the vision that we have, and how we're going to continue to set that out is something that others are going to want to be a part of. So I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, now we're going to get into the Today Show aspect of the interview.
Okay. Nate, this is where the training kind of ended.
Yeah.
So I'm on my own here.
Yeah. You're training for an Ironman competition.
Oh man, yeah.
That's insane. So why do such a crazy thing? Because to me, that sounds like hell on earth.
I think I thought the same thing a few years ago. So I don't think I fully reconciled, why I want to do that. But look, I've been fortunate to come from a place where, I've been training the last couple of years, a lot of it on the bike. I came through Canisius High School and Fordham University through their rowing programs, and then New York Athletic Club where I rowed. And, that just instills in you, ultimately a lot of discipline, a lot of character building coming through those sports. And then the last few years I was able to translate that to really riding. And I have a great group of guys that I ride with. We push each other. We have a ton of fun. And, at some point, Nate, and I don't know when, I don't know why, it kind of clicked on me to kind of say, well, what else can I do with this? I've had a lot of fun. I've built a good base, but what other idiotic thing can I pull together and think through, and somehow it translated, to the Iron Man.
And there you are.
So the story's still unfolding there because I'm in the guts of training for it now. So you'll have a first-hand perspective on how this goes.
We'll know how your training's going based upon your moods and mood swings and meetings. And then that happens in July, I believe.
The funny part about that happens July 22nd, Lake Placid, and it's my anniversary. So happy
anniversary! Yeah,
happy anniversary to Jennifer on that day.
She can be at a restaurant or a hotel or something, enjoying herself on the lakes of Lake Placid or something.
Definitely,
and, while you're suffering.
Definitely, I hope to get to her by the end of the day.
And hey, you never know. So maybe in late July, August, there might be another executive director position open. We don't know yet.
Exactly.
Just don't know.
Just get me through that day.
So wrapping things up, because I know you've got a busy day. Any last kind of parting words? You're going to be meeting more people than you probably thought you were in the next coming weeks, as you just get to know the community. But I'll let you have the final word.
Look, Nate, humbled. A couple things come to mind. Humbled to be here. Very respectful of the opportunity that's ahead. Excited to get going. And really just appreciate the support of our sponsors, the board, Governor Andrew Cuomo, and the Empire State Development Corp, and really just look forward to what we can continue to build on and how we can make this a real sustainable success kind of going forward. So, look, there's a lot more to come. As you guys know, I'm just getting my head, haven't even started yet. So look forward to getting my head really firmly, grounded and into this. And we'll keep people updated as we kind of progress.
All right, Alex, we'll see you very soon. And I know the community is looking forward to getting to know you.
Thanks, Nate.
Talk to you soon. I want to thank Alex for joining me on the podcast this week. And if you want to get to know him just a little bit more, you'll have to swing on by the incubator when he starts full-time mid-March. We're very excited that he's coming on board, and we look forward to doing wonderful things in 2018 at 43 North. I want to thank everybody who listens to this podcast, and if you haven't done so already, you know what I'm going to ask. Head on over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review of this podcast, because the more 5-star reviews we have, the higher our ranking is in iTunes, and the more people who learn about our episodes and our startups in Buffalo. That's a lot to get in. No, seriously. The more people who leave a review, the better it is for iTunes, the better it is for Buffalo. And that's all I'm here to do. Do good things for Buffalo. We've got a great archive of episodes, too, so head on into the archive and listen. If you want to listen to last week's episode with John Gavigan, just reminisce about his time here at 43 North, feel free to do that. And hey, if you have any questions about the podcast or have any suggestions for guests, shoot me an email, podcast@43north.org. I'm always looking forward to hearing from folks, good, bad, or otherwise. Always looking forward to it. Thanks again for listening to the 43 North podcast. I'm Nate Benson, and we'll see you at the next one.